with that being said, I guess our first one up is going to be Paul here in Orlando. Paul, you got an '01 Silverado. Tell us what's going on with it.
Well, no real problem. I'm the person that put the brake lines in a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm going to hire you. I'm going to give you a job.
Yeah. I've been thinking about what I can ask you today. This is just a curious question here. You know, when you step on that emergency brake, it goes to the floor. There's not like the older cars where there's resistance, where it really locks in, whether it be a handbrake or a foot brake. And this goes to the floor. Now, years ago, I tightened up the adjustment, which runs alongside the driver's side underneath. There's a bolt that tightens it up, but it doesn't do much. And I had the car up, because I'm messing with tires these days, so I had the car up on jacks, and I had the emergency brake pressed down, and I could actually, with the wheel on, move with not much problem. I can turn the wheel with the emergency brake fully locked down. This thing couldn't stop a car on the hill.
Yeah, no, they're worthless at that point.
And when I took the wheel off, I could not turn the rotor. It was tight. But before you answer if there's any direction here, I've been waiting for this recording for YouTube station or any kind of recording since you were on the air in the mornings back when you started.
My YouTube guy is probably cracking up. I've got friends of mine that finally.
That's how long I've been waiting for.
I have.
You can't always get to the Saturday show.
I know. If I was to categorize all the complaints I've had over the years, well, the station is supposed to go ahead and categorize it so you can play back, hour one or hour two. And, unfortunately, when you listen to the way that the station does it, you have to listen to all the commercials again as well. So, but this way, by having it on the YouTube, it's going to be categorized with all the different cars and all the different car questions. So if it's a 2000 Honda Civic that's got an AC problem, it's going to be categorized as that, but they're also going to categorize it as they can date the shows and play the whole show back, minus commercials, of course. And so between friends of mine and a nice young gentleman that said he was going to put all this together, I have no choice but to go ahead and do it. We'll see what happens. I'm not one of these high-tech kind of guys, unless it's a car. If it's a car, I'm fine with it. But you start giving me computer and internet stuff, and I'll wind up being lost. Paul, listen, let me tell you what you're going to need to do. You're going to need to pull the rear rotors off the back of the truck, which is going to entail pulling the rear wheels. You're going to have to remove the calipers, and you're going to have to remove the rear rotors. And after you remove the rear rotors, you will see, they use brake shoes for that emergency brake, and they go on the inside of those brake rotors, and that's how the vehicle stops. Now, at the very bottom of those emergency brake shoes, there is an adjustment, and those things are way out of adjustment. You need to put them on just like you would a regular old drum brake system, and you just get them to where you can barely hear the shoes raking against the drum. You may pull them off and find out that the daggone friction material is actually detached from the actual brake shoes themselves. But we see that all the time. But pull the rear rotors off, and I think it's going to be self-explanatory for somebody like you. You can, if the shoes are still good and there's plenty of friction material on them, go ahead and just adjust them and just get them tightened up. Put the rotors back on, and you should have a perfect emergency brake pedal at that point. If the shoes are worn out, just get a new set of emergency brake shoes for it and slap them on there, adjust them out, make sure they're they're plenty good and tight, and that'll have you in business. We appreciate your call. You call us anytime.